This is the major benefit to making a decision. So, about a month ago, I attended a conference and it was called Funnel Hacking Live if you want to look that up. And this is a conference that I go to every year, and it's a conference for entrepreneurs and trying to teach them marketing, and more specifically, teach them marketing through using sales funnels. And every year I go, I get a lot of information, and it's really great. It's very informative. And at the end of the sessions, they always make a pitch. They make a pitch for you to join their high level, high ticket mastermind group. And this high level mastermind group, guys, it costs a lot of money. It's a lot. And here's the thing. The past 2 years, I actually didn't even think about doing it. But this year, things were a little bit different. This year, I was like, hey, I've been doing well in my business, and also I want to take things to the next level. So they made an offer, and I looked at it, I said, it's not that bad, but it does cost a lot of money. And if I do decide to join this will be by far the most amount of money I've ever spent on myself outside of paying for college. So I remember they made the offer and they said, hey, you have 24 hours to think about it. So they're using scarcity and all that stuff, right? Scarcity, urgency. So they're like, you have 24 hours to think about it. So when they went away, right, once they did their presentation and walked away, I started to get real anxious. I started to get so anxious that, man, to be honest, I almost threw up in my seat. And the reason why is because I'm thinking, man, if I join this program, it'll be great. But what if I fail? What if I don't get my money's worth, right? All these negative thoughts started to come into my mind. So I'm pacing back and forth, back and forth. I'm talking to this friend and that friend. And I'm just sitting there like lost for words. And I remember going home thinking like, Jesus, man, I know I want to be great. I know I want to succeed at all these other things. But man, this is going to cost a lot. And that's another thing about greatness. Honestly, though, I'm going to take the word greatness out of it. That's the thing about making your life meaningful. That's the thing about accomplishing anything that you want in life. A lot of times, it's going to take you doing something painful. Because here's the thing. You could either have the pain of doing the thing, or you can have the pain of not accomplishing that goal, right? So it's the pain of starting a business and taking it as far as you want, or it's the pain of checking in and clocking into that same job for the next 20, 30, 40 years, right? Which pain do you want? So I'm sitting there like, oh my God, what do I do? And I remember I had an epiphany that night. I had an epiphany that was along the lines of this. I've spent so much money on vacations, medical bills, as I mentioned, college, but I never went out and spent money on me to this degree. And I'll tell you guys why. I'll be very honest. I'll be very vulnerable if that's okay. The biggest reason why I was afraid to spend all this money on myself was because I was afraid of the responsibility that I would then take on. It's a responsibility knowing that if this fails, that means that I failed. And that's something that would be unbearable because we all have this thing that we're trying to protect, and this thing is called our self-concept. The way that we see ourselves is very valuable to us. It's so valuable that we'd be willing to do anything to protect it. This is why in the movie Shutter's Island with Leonardo DiCaprio, his mind literally created a whole nother personality because the idea of him being the one that killed his wife was too unbearable to actually feel or witness, right? And sorry for the spoiler, you should still check out that movie. But guys, the responsibility was so big that it scared me, man. I'll be honest. That's probably the most afraid I've ever been. And I remember going to the back of the table and I pulled out my credit card and I started to write down the numbers and all that stuff, and I shakingly, right, gave it to him, and I took a deep breath, was like, here you go. And boom. And I'll tell you guys the number. I don't share it too much, but this program was $25,000. It was more than the down payment that we spent on our house. And that was another thing. Literally a week ago, I just put money down on my house, right? And now I'm coming out of pocket to pay for this high level, high ticket mastermind group. So basically, like, I'm just like, shoving out a whole lot of money. And I'm taking the biggest risk on myself. And again, this is something that was very scary. And for a long time, right, I was like, man, is this the right decision to make? But when I gave them that card, right, when I gave them the card, I tell you, something amazing happened. I felt so free. I felt so liberated. I felt so focused, right? Because I no longer had to worry, do I do it or do I not do it? I was more so now focused on, all right, let's get this thing going. What's the next step? All right, I need to show up to this meeting. This is the date that's going to start. They're going to send the Zoom link. I was like, okay. And that's the benefit about making a goal, making a decision, really. One of the biggest benefits to making a decision is that it allows you to start taking actions towards the goal where others are still left wondering, procrastinating, and thinking. Because now I'm on this journey while people are still back in their other world, the old world. All right. And that's something that we say a lot in the marketing, right? It's the new world that the people are in versus the old world before they meet your opportunity, the thing that you're going to sell them, if you will. So, guys, what I'm trying to say in this podcast is that every time you make a decision, what you're doing is you're cutting off all the other alternatives. And that's what the word literally means when you look at it. So when you break down the word decision from the Latin perspective, the first part, D, means off, all right? And the word sedere means to cut. So again, what you're literally doing is you're cutting off all other options, and now you're choosing a path that you're going to follow. By choosing that path, you will eventually develop the confidence that you're looking for that you did not have before. Because before, there were all these different options that I could choose. But now I've made a decision, and now the road is crystal clear in front of me. So what I want you guys to do is start to look at the things that you value in your life and ask yourself, what is the one decision that you've been procrastinating on making? And I want you guys to make a commitment to it. For me, my commitment was a financial one. For you, it may be a financial one that you need to make. Maybe it's a time commitment thing. Whatever it is, I need you to make a commitment. And that commitment may feel a little bit uncomfortable, but trust me when I say, when you choose that path, you will feel free from all the indecisiveness. You'll feel free from being on the fence, and now you can enjoy being on the other side of the fence or whatever the case it may be. So with that being said, guys, make that decision. Take life by the horns. Use your values, okay? Use your values as a guide and let that take you where you need to be. All right, guys, this is Coach Wells. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast so you can get more information like this. All right, I'll see you later.